New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Free my mind, open my heart with the whispers of truth. To live a conscious life, to live a conscious life on the growing edge. On the growing edge.
And now, here's Allie.
Hello and welcome to Growing Edge Live. I'm Allie Benjamin, and it is my great joy to be here today. As you can see, I've got a beautiful soul sister on the screen next to me. And but before I introduce you to Kellee, I want to welcome you, whether you're here for the first time or you're back because you enjoy these deep dive conversations with individuals that are channeling their time, their talent, their energy, their resources, their creativity into doing good work in the world. And today my guest is a friend of mine. Kellee Morris she's also known as, do you say Shamama? Is that how you say it, Kellee?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's I don't even remember how I started being called Shamama, but yeah, some people say Shamama.
Shamama. Well, Kellee is a friend of mine. We've known each other for quite a long time now. I don't know, a decade or more. And you used to live close by, but you're now far away. Where are you?
I'm near Aspen, Colorado now, so it's not that
far. All right. Well,
8
I'm
hours.
going to read a little bit about you because I was so impressed when you sent me your bio and I was reading all the things you're interested in. They're the same things that I'm interested in. So here we go. So Kellee Shamama is an intuitive guide and mentor with 35-year vocation in bodywork. She offers an embodied whole life healing and teaching practice, body, mind, emotions, and spirit. Kellee is shaped by an early love and connection to nature and a personal experience of Christ consciousness. Her work weaves new thought, Christian mysticism, Buddhist principles, internal family systems, 12-step recovery, yoga, therapeutic bodywork, shamanic Reiki, neuroplasticity, and nutrition. My goodness. With 8 years of intense shamanic plant medicine education in the Amazon, she quietly translates and acts as a midwife to help birth new narratives and realities for her clients. Kellee allows her intuition to lead, her common sense to guide, and daily practice to ground, and always a little bit of quantum, or as she would say, God magic, from all dimensions and all the elements. Both seeker and student, she explores and brings her wealth of wisdom to her offerings. Welcome, Kellee.
That makes me sound pretty damn cool.
You are. You absolutely are. And I knew that at the beginning, the moment I met you, at the beginning of our friendship, I felt like it was meant to be. It was kismet. We were in the same town, Ogden, Utah. It's the top of Utah. And Kellee had an accent. And when I met you, I was just so intrigued. And so it sounded so familiar. And then we found out how our lives have sort of woven and crossed, but we've never met until we're, 10 years ago or so. But let's talk a little bit about your upbringing and how close we were in proximity at around the same age in our teenage years. We were both in England. So I'd love to start there and then go back a bit to where you were actually born and how you got to England.
Absolutely, Allie. I love the story.
Yeah. So why don't you talk a little bit about where how you got to England and why you were in Oxfordshire for school.
Okay, well, in a nutshell, I lost my mother early in life, and my father remarried an English lady. She had the sense to move us all to England, and my grandma was living in the Cotswolds. And my grandma and my grandmother and grandfather fixed up old period homes and sold them as a business. They would restore them to their original flavor, like, you know, open up the Inglenook fireplaces. And my dad fancied that. So that's what we did. So we went from charming village to charming village, fixing up houses and getting to live in them while they were being fixed up, and always stayed localized around one school district. So I never had to change school, which was fabulous. And that's why they chose that, because, as you know, the Cotswold is very charming, like quintessential honey-colored limestone and etc. However, also because everything was so fused with history, it's like from a really young age, that was where it all started, because those old houses would speak and I could feel them and hear them tell their stories, and the gardens with the old trees and old growth forest and that type of thing. So yeah, that was how I got there, and that was sort of how it all began. How about you?
Oh my gosh. Well, I grew up in the same area, almost, not the Cotswolds, but in Oxfordshire. And
Got that.
yeah, so much like you, I stayed in the same school district for all of my younger years until I was 14 and moved to this country. So getting back, so your mother passed away when you were
Yes.
young. Where did you grow up in America?
No,
Early
I
on.
grew up in England. Well, I was 3.
Okay, okay.
When she passed away, I was 3, and so I think we had a Norwegian nanny for a year or so, and I think we lived in Norway. And then during which time my father met my Benjamin just got on. Hello, hello. Oh, it's so sweet. And then my father met my stepmother, and they had it all organized for us to move to the UK. So we didn't live in the US very long when we came back with our nanny. And yeah, so I think it was still the old money when we moved to the UK. You know, it's still shillings and all of that.
Yeah. So I actually did not know you were there at that early age. I thought you moved later on, but you were there.
No.
And we're a year apart. I'm a year
Yeah.
older than you.
So we
And
would have.
so we were, you know, close by to each other at that time. I was in Henley. I was born in Henley.
Wow.
And yeah, and then we
That's the
moved
very
to the
posh
countryside.
Posh part of the Cotswolds, darling.
Yeah, well, we stayed in that area until I was 14, and who knows, maybe our paths crossed. We just didn't know.
Wouldn't that have been something? Maybe at the regatta, ogling the Oxford rowers.
Well, my dad was he was an Olympic oarsman, and he was a coach in Henley at the regatta. Well, I mean, he actually rowed in the regatta, so did my brother. And my father was the coach at the Leander Club, which is a rowing club just right on the bridge in Henley. So if you ever did go to the regatta, I was there every summer.
Wow. I did. I mean, you never know. It's funny how that is.
Yeah, well, I'll have to look at some of my photos in my photograph album, because maybe I can see a little Kellee in the background somewhere.
See if I photobombed any of them.
Anyway, I read your bio, and obviously you've spent a tremendous amount of time diving into the mystical, the magical. You've spent a lot of time learning and studying. I'd like to know where all that started. Were you, as a young one, were you interested in the human condition? And were you interested in the mystical side of life? Was your family spiritual or religious? How did you become so interested in, you know, things that aren't so obvious to the naked eye?
Well, first of all, I think I have to say that losing my mother at the age that I did, you know, it wasn't an easy situation when she passed, because she was dying in my arms when I was 3. And I felt my entire life, even though I didn't really know my mother, I have very few memories, that she left me her unlived legacy. And she was a woman of the 50s, and she was a wild woman, and she was kept down, and
Mm,
she didn't like it. So she chose to depart early.
mm,
And I think because of the generation, being a child of the 60s and 70s, I could run with it. And I think that some of it was me fulfilling the life that she was misplaced in living. And
mm,
the other part of it, I really think, had to do with where we lived, because something happens when you're traumatized like that at a young age that opens up a whole different realm before there's cognitive understanding of what that realm is. And so I believe I was predisposed to that. Family, stepmom was an atheist,
mm,
father was Jewish, non practicing. And so I was actually hungry for there to be a container for my spirituality. But before there was nature, I just felt like nature held me. I felt like the trees, and I could always, I mean, I would forage for plants and eat the plants and know which ones to eat. I mean,
mm.
it's funny because I've told someone this. I used to eat mushrooms, and they go, "Oh, well, that explains everything then." But I never got ill. I always ate the right one. So it was in there. And I didn't really think much about it until my friends started saying, "Well, what are you going to be? What are you going to be when you grow up?" And, you know, they all share and they say to me, "Well, what are you going to be when you grow up?" And I go, "Well, I don't know what I'm going to be, but I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring the power of the moon to the people." And they're
Mm.
like, "You can't do that." And it's like when I was 5, I'd been out on Halloween with this big gaudy glass ring that I'd bought my mother for like a quarter or, you know, 25p. And the moon was reflecting in like the 7 big cuts of the glass. And I went, "Oh, I'm supposed to bring the power of the moon to the people." And I never left that. So even when my friends ridicule me, they go, "Well, what does that look like if you're bringing the power of the moon to the people?" I said, "I'm going to fly all over the world and I'm going to help people understand what it means to love and be well." Because there was so much in my life that wasn't that. And they
Mm,
laughed at me and everyone said I was a dreamer. But that's what I did. And I unwittingly did it. It's like I felt like God chose it for me because
mm,
my path would open before me and I would be doing it. And none of it I ever planned to do. The only thing I knew was that when I would draw, like the images that I would draw would be repetitive. And they came to mean something once I was doing all this, you know, lots of things with wings and spirals and the plants with birds coming out of them. And, you know, so it materialized around me, and through tremendous fight and hardship and suffering and struggle and dysfunction and mind, just, yeah. So I think that, and I believe this, Ali, and you tell me if this has been true in your experience, that people who are called to walk in the more mystical paths in life, or even to question things deeper than the surface, it's almost like mandatory that they've had a rough start, that things didn't go smoothly. They didn't necessarily have the idyllic upbringing. I mean, I don't really think I know but 1 or 2 people on this path that haven't had some rather hefty challenges to deal with. in
Yeah.
their family of origin, school, and being understood, understanding. So
Hmm. Oh my
yeah.
gosh, as you're sharing your story, I am so connecting with it. You and I have both talked about the Enneagram, and
Yes, and we're the
that's something that
same.
I'm very passionate about. And we are both Enneagram type 4s, the
Absolutely.
individualist. And so, just for those of you that aren't aware of the Enneagram, it is a typology or a system of understanding the human condition, and it helps one understand why they do the things they do, why they're interested in the things they're interested in. And when you share your story about your mother leaving at age 3, of you being a dreamer and your friends not quite understanding, your sort of magical thinking and your way of looking and engaging in the world, I too felt that. My mother left me when I was 5 and moved to America. And so I too grew up with, I think maybe this is some of what makes us both type 4s. Maybe when we don't grow up with our mother in our life that can reflect back to us who we are in terms of being loved and precious and understood, then we develop a way of wanting that and looking for that. And so it sounds like, and this is how I felt, I was always trying to make sense of myself in relationship to the world around me and to the adults and the people, the children, my friends. And I too connected very deeply with nature. I think
Yeah.
one of my first books was that, I don't know if you ever had it. It was a little book on fairies, and each flower had a different fairy. Like there was
Oh,
the snowdrop fairy and the primrose fairy, and
oh,
so growing up in the English countryside and being an only child and being in the woods and exploring and playing, and I never ate the mushrooms because there were so many around us, but I definitely saw a lot of mushrooms. But that was how I connected and communicated with the world. And I think that when one has this early experience of seeking the self or trying to feel like a sense of belonging, when maybe your caregivers, your parents, couldn't quite give you that feeling or that connection, that
yeah.
we can go into the more mystical side. And that's where I found myself. I had my first mystical experience at age 5, a complete unity experience of oneness. And that's sort of been the central theme of my life. It's a touchstone. It's a something that I can go back to time and time again and commune with God or commune with the universe. And so you said that you felt like your life was God ordained in a certain way, that you were put on this path because of your traumatic childhood. Same. And that's kind of why we're doing what we're doing and have been so interested. You and I have studied a lot of the same things, like the gene keys and human design and IFS and New Thought and 12 steps, and all of these modalities or mediums or philosophies can really support not only us, but it helps us to connect and relate and have empathy for others. And so the fact that you and I both enjoy supporting others through self-discovery, it seems so obvious and logical and mystical all at the same time.
Well, and I think it comes from a genuine drive to experience life to the fullest and to find the wholeness in a broken world right from the get-go.
Yeah.
The earth becomes the mother when mother isn't there. You
Oh,
know, like Father Sky and God, and, you know, whether you believe in Father God or the, you know, the Father Sky, whatever, it's like what we lacked make us seek deeper to experience it, to be able to bring the people who are drawn to us. And you especially, before I'll take an aside, you inspired me tremendously, because at the time I met you, you know, I taught yoga, I did Reiki and plant medicine. But going to Satya, is Satya still going?
Well, not on Sundays. We have a women's group, and we've got a
Okay. Well, the
podcast. This is
Satya,
now Satya.
the Satya Center, and how the art and the manifestation tools and all of the things, it's like they wove into the things that were already sort of working in me, and just helped create this tapestry, which made me realize that, gosh, you know, yes, it's about people all enjoying and being the best wholest they can be, but it's also like living life as art. And, you know, we know the expression making a silk purse out of a sow's ear,
Yes.
you know, which is like, you know, here I think they say when you're given lemons, make lemonade. So it's alchemy. It's like taking the things that the world has, you know, dished us as challenges and obstacles, and then making them something beautiful, which, you know, whether it's through scripture, you know, where it's like, you know, in scripture it'll say everything the enemy intended for harm will be turned to good, or making lemonade out of your lemons, or making a silk purse out of a sow's ear, or Native Americans walking the beauty way and being in right relation with this. And this is where I'm so grateful that I learned from you and counseled with you, because you're one of the few people that would call me out in my narrative, right? You know, it's like, why do you want to keep telling yourself that story? You know, yes, you're experiencing that right now, but is this what you want for your future? And it's like, no. It's like, well, stop telling yourself that story then, because it's like it doesn't suit you, and you don't want to give that energy, right? Where your energy, where your attention goes, your energy flows. And all of these were new thought principles that I resonated with, but I had not heard. And so I realized there are a lot of practitioners out there that would milk the story to get you to keep coming back. They didn't really want people. I don't know if it's that they didn't want, because I can't say that, but the tools that they had kept people looping. And that's what got me interested in the limbic loop, where the mind gets stuck, and the whole thing about neuroplasticity. And then, you know, all of the work that Joe Dispenza made famous about, you know, the wiring together from the thoughts. And so it's so interesting that all of it weaves so beautifully together. And you've been an incredible beacon of the direction that I've wanted to go. And it's far more than a decade. It was 2007 I met you.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
I
That's a
know.
lot longer.
Yeah.
Well, I just love hearing you reflect back to me your path and your ability to really, you know, connect with those principles and embody them and move forward in your own evolution, move forward in creating and writing your own story. And it's so beautiful to witness.
Thank you.
I think the whole Joe Dispenza teaching, not the whole, but he's just on to so many new things these days. But that idea of breaking the habit of being yourself, you know, and I think that's what you're talking about with the looping, the limbic loop, staying stuck in a story, staying stuck in a program. And I know that you've done a lot of work, and so have I, to be able to see these loops, these patterns, these stories, these ways that people get stuck, and then like keep repeating it. It's like a good idea to keep mentioning what you're upset about.
Yeah.
And,
Well,
it does become a habit. And so many people are unconscious about the level of complaining they do. They
right.
may
Well,
not call it complaining. They may call it, I'm just sharing what's on my mind.
I
But
know,
if
but
the universe hears, or God hears, the complaint, and as you stay in your complaint, like, I'm not, thin enough, or wealthy enough, or young enough, or, I don't have the best opportunities that are going to get me in the, where I want to go, or whatever the particular story that sounds like a complaint or sounds like a victimization, then becomes the energy that you're vibing at. And that's the
absolutely.
law
And
of attraction.
I know, and people saying I don't want this, the universe just hears the subject
Right.
because the focus is on it. I saw a cute meme where somebody was like, "Oh, nobody loves me," and the universe was like, "Okay," and then I'll never get a job, and the universe was like, "Oh, all right, if you say so." And but here's the thing. This is the other thing that I've learned is that, and it was my teacher. I must give mention to Hamilton Souther in the jungle because I learned so much from him. At the time I learned it from him, he is so brilliant that my small brain could not assimilate everything he said, but I remembered the things he'd said. And as I went on through further studies, it was like all of the topics that he had shared fell into formation. And he had said, misery loves company. And what I've learned as I've proceeded, and not to waste your time, when people are miserable and they don't want to get out, they're just loving they're miserable. And I was like, why do people love misery? Well, I've learned in working with addicts and 12-step program, and I'm in a 12-step program, but it's for adult children of alcoholics, is that we get addicted to our own stress chemicals. And so people actually get a hit from doing that to themselves. And when they go do a workshop and they feel fabulous for a minute, and then they're going cold turkey on their own stress chemicals. And so they go right back to it the same way an addict shoots up. They don't really want to be shooting heroin, but they're addicted. And so learning that this addiction to suffering is because people don't know who they'd be without it, because identity, the identity is all so entrenched in the suffering. And I had that experience in the jungle where when God Spirit asked me if I was willing to give up my identity entirely and trust God to completely repattern and refuel me as the true self, and not this facade of a false self that was trying to fit in and find their place in the world, all of the realizations came, and it was like, oh, but just because you realize them and see them doesn't change the pattern.
Well, let's stop here for a minute. We're going to take a
Yeah.
short break, and then we're going to come back. And I want you to share more about that, what you learned in the jungle when you were able to see your personality structure clearly, and how you move forward in that. We'll be right back in just a minute.
Okay.
Please help us say thank you to all of our organizational sponsors, including the Hefferland Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Center for Spiritual Living United Life, Sunshine Cathedral, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Universal Joy Center, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center Ottawa, Home Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living, North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living, Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. On behalf of New Thought Media Network, thank you, and please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, come be you. Come expand your spiritual journey. Join us for Just the Talk, Sundays, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Mountain Time. Experience Unity Kitchener and Ottawa. Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Unity of Garden Park, New Thought Philadelphia, the Sunshine Cathedral, Unity of Savannah, and the Om Center for Spiritual Living. Come unleash your spiritual potential with New Thought Media Network. New Thought Media Network proudly presents a Science of Mind Saturday Conversations. Learn more about the Science of Mind philosophy, faith, and way of life. Join our team of experts for a weekly deep dive discussion. Come study the science of mind, chapter by chapter, and resources from the Science of Mind archives. Plan to join us every Saturday, 9 a.m. Mountain Time. Only on the New Thought Media Network.
Free my mind, open my heart with the whispers of truth. To live a conscious life, to live a conscious life on the growing edge. On the growing edge.
And now, here's Allie.
Hello, and we're back. I'm back with my friend Kellee. So Kellee, tell us about this ground shaking experience that you had in the Amazon, I think. Yeah.
Well, yes, thank you for asking about it, because it was terrifying. It was literally as though, when one drinks ayahuasca and probably other psychedelic medicines, the vision is so real. It's like there's no question that it's reality. It's not like, oh, I'm just tripping. It's literally like, this is me and God. And if I want to redeem myself, I have to be willing to give up all of the old. And as I was like, I'm sick of my life, I hate my life, it moved through, and it literally felt like it took everything that made me out, and all there was the thinnest membrane that made my shape. And it was like I was sweating. I thought I was going to poo myself. I was I mean, this is common, but it was literally like my entire being was being scoured. And after it was done, it was the most incredible sense of peace. It was like the stories stopped, the chatter stopped. All of the things that had been haunting me, like ghosts and voices, and not like schizophrenic, just like critical, it stopped. And then I saw me, and it was funny because I looked like I do now. I had light hair. And I spoke to myself and said, I never want you to question who you are ever again. And I was like, right then, okay. Well, it wasn't that easy, because then what I've realized about the work with ayahuasca is the integration work. After ayahuasca, people need someone like you. People need someone that's going to repeatedly teach them to work those new neural pathways in, so that they can embody the vision, and then they can experience and live vision, instead of just going and drinking more and doing more mushrooms and doing another workshop. It's like learn how to embody it, change the neuroplasticity, change the narrative. So then you're informing the universe that, hey, this is pretty magic here. And with a good dose of common sense, right? Which a lot of the, I'm not going to say the new thought movement, but definitely the new age movement, where it's like, oh, it's all good, it's all love. It's like, no, it's not. It, it's like, if it's rotten, it's rotten. But how we interface with that, right? Would
Yeah.
you agree? It's like, because this has become the crux of my work.
Yeah, the whole spiritual bypassing, the,
Yeah,
painting a rosy picture, but really not embodying the teachings or embodying the
right?
wisdom, or,
Yeah,
accessing your soul,
yeah,
accessing your essence.
yeah,
That is a deep and profound experience. And I know that you help facilitate people to connect with that deeper part of themselves and to bring it forward. And I do too. And I was just thinking of your mother when you mentioned that you were continuing her legacy in being self-actualized, self-realized, and bringing that um, to life. And you have, and this is, you're doing that with other people, you're doing that with yourself, and it's so obvious and it's so beautiful. And I have not done plant medicine or ayahuasca myself, so I can't speak to that. But whether we choose that path or another path, for me it was a mystical experience that I
yeah,
had that
yeah,
took me out of my personality and
yeah,
and helped me to see the bigger picture.
yeah,
And it's not seeing with your physical eyes, it's not
exactly.
hearing with your ears, it's a it's a deep knowing of the dimensions of ourself and of life and of God and of mystery that lands so fully during an experience that,
Yes,
like you're talking about, or those of
absolutely.
us that have had a oneness or an awakening experience.
Indeed.
There's no going back. It becomes so part of who you are and everything you do that it's something you can't help but share with other people, I think.
Um, Thank you, Ali. And I want to just be very clear about the fact that I had the experience with ayahuasca. And I absolutely, I mean, through meditation, through breath work, through mystical experiences in nature, vision quests. There's so many different ways that this can happen, but it requires a tremendous amount of courage. And one of the things that I can say about you and I both is we are very encouraging. And so I think that people don't need to be fixed, right?
Mm-hmm.
They need somebody to walk with them who maybe knows the way a little better than they do, to encourage them and be like, you can do it, and this is the way. More as a guide and a teacher than a healer. When people say healer, it's like, I don't like that. I don't think humanity's broken. I think this is another thing from my teacher Hamilton. He would say, we're not healing anyone, we're straightening energy. Like it's like when wool, knitting wool gets tangled up, it's like untangling the bundles so that when people's energy is straight, they take the path they're supposed to take. They walk their path. They don't need to be told by me. They don't need a guru. They don't need that. We help them find themselves as we're finding ourselves. And it's endless, right? Because and for anyone that's listening, do the Enneagram work with Ali, because it's not any easier than anything that's really potent work, but it's helped me. That, oh, Ali's gone. Can we get Ali back? I don't want to talk without Ali. Well, anyway, since I'm giving her a plug, I think that exploring the Enneagram, Ali is an amazing guide to explore the Enneagram, which, like the gene keys, am I gone now too? or it's just, well, if it's just me, I'm still going to plug Allie. So just to find yourself, or human design, Rosie Cutter with human design, to just help find ourselves. Because something else I'll share, if I'm still live, is that
I'm back.
you're back. I was just plugging you and the Enneagram while you were gone.
Oh, you're so sweet. I don't know what happened. We'll figure that out later on.
Gremlins.
Yeah.
And I tell you, anytime me and technology, there's going to be and actually, no, I don't want to claim that to the universe. In the past, this has been a thing. Moving forward, no longer.
Yeah.
I was just.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was sharing about the true self and finding a mirror in the Enneagram, and how helpful you are in doing that to learn how to navigate the true self, which was going to lead me to another funny thing that happened after that vision. So after the vision, and this was not under a psychedelic trance of any kind, but I talk to God as I understand God. And so I say, what is this thing about identity? Like, why do I feel that if I don't identify with a people group, if I'm not identified as being part of their group, that I feel shaky? And this was me sorting out the false self and, sort of being a veneer of a human, because I didn't feel worthy, all of the ouchy stuff. And this is what Spirit said. It's like a little nursery rhyme. I looked in the mirror, and what did I see? I saw my identity staring back at me. So I removed the ID, and what did I see? All there was an entity. So it's like it could be any entity at all that we identify with, it becomes us. So if my identity is wrapped up in love and God and nature and plants and the mycelium of the earth and how that connects to God and believing in the God magic and the alchemy, I get told all the time, oh, magical thinking. Oh, you're so naive. Oh, all these things. But I'll tell you what, I'm not a cheat. I live in integrity. I live an honest life. And I magnetize things to me that help me as I have to go through life's challenges. And I don't have to force, and I don't have to try, and I don't have to manipulate. And I'm kind of a reluctant shamama. I don't market. I don't do it. I mean, my website, you found it and posted it. It hasn't really even got anything on it yet. And Mark Greco, who's a dear friend of mine who made me the website, he's like, can we please finish your website? This has been going on for 10 years because I've been so reluctant. I just want to see what the universe brings. But it's because I gave up my identity to being a success and being the person. Like, this is the first podcast I've ever done.
Oh,
it's like, and I mean, I would do more, but I don't need to do podcasts. I just like being, right?
well, I love that you love being, and I love to see you so full of life and energy, and just you sharing about yourself and your path is having a ripple out effect. People feel that, and they feel the truth of it. And it's unusual because so many people go around trying to be a certain something or someone, or, wear a mask, or, get too far down the road of people pleasing or codependency or all of these things. But you're showing up as you, uniquely you. And that is a beautiful thing to witness. And I can imagine whether you're in a 12-step group, or you're teaching a yoga class, or you're running around the garden taking pictures of all those beautiful moths and butterflies, or whatever you're doing, there you are. And to have that degree of presence, I think, is the reason that we're all here, is to be fully present in our own lives, fully aware of our own energy and agency, to be able to respond to the things that come to us, whether it be a situation or a a person, a relationship, or even the work we do or the art we create, to be present with all of that, I think that, using the two of us as an example, we'll come to the end of this incarnation and feel like we lived the heck out of this life, that we were present as much as we could be. Not that it's easy, it's not. Sometimes we're faced with big challenges, and to be present in the midst of those challenges and allow your essence versus your programming or your personality to be with that challenge, that's a gift, to where we come to the point where even the darkest experiences we could possibly have, as hard as they are in the moment, moving through them with that sense of presence, you get to the other side and you're changed, because that's why we're here on earth, to take it all in, to feel the full beauty and magnificence of it all, and to truly be changed each moment. Because if you haven't noticed, we look in the mirror, we're changing all the time. You and I both have this beautiful silver hair. And so when we're engaged with the change and the flow and the ups and the downs in the way that you're describing it, in the way that I know you live it, then we can feel so full of life's beauty at whatever age and whatever we're doing.
Absolutely.
So
I would agree 100%. And I would add that for me, I couldn't do it without a power greater than myself. Like for me, and I know it, whatever that power is to whomever, it's so much better to believe in love to a degree that is so beyond anything that we even live. It's like, and to ask and pray, because I'm like this right now, and I'm going through some of the most painful, worst thing I've ever gone through. And I can do both. I can cry, I can feel it, and I don't have to get attached to some catastrophizing. It's like, it's temporary, right? It's temporary. Everything's going to change. And the only thing that I can ever be guaranteed of is ever going to stay the same is the fact that everything's going to change.
It is the truth. So you are out there in the world, you're teaching, you're around a lot of other people. And I'd love to know, what is it you're sensing? Like, what is the world hungry for right now? What is making a difference? How do you feel the work that you do helps individuals find their way and find a sense of their essence and peace?
That's it's the best question ever. And I think that I'm going to defer again to something that I heard in ceremony, which is the greatest gift of love that you can give a human being is the right to be themselves. And so anything I can do to help people be at peace with exactly who they are, so that they're not trying, like you were mentioning, people pleasing and all those types of things. If every person knew that who they were, just as they are, was perfectly okay and acceptable, I don't think that we would have all the challenges and problems that we have. I think that's the gift that I bring, is to meet people where they're at, accept them the way they are, listen to them tell me what they want, and then help extract that out of them, or help them mine for that, or help them develop that, whatever it is. Nothing that I want, it's like it can range from healing from physical maladies to wanting to branch out and start their own yoga operation, or move away from dysfunctional parents that pay all the bills, and how to do that. It's sort of like, I don't even know what to call it, but when people find me, that's basically what I do, is what we do. It's like I get behind them and be like, okay, if you bring me your dreams and we'll make the blueprint like an architect, right? I'll
Yeah.
be the architect of your what you want for your future. And a lot of people are scared.
Yeah.
So it's not for everyone, and it can be physical, it can be reshaping their body, it can be reshaping their mind, it can be healing from losing a child to a drug overdose. It spans the gamut.
Mm.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I find that so many people really don't know what they want. They're not happy with the way things are. But when I ask a client, well, what is it that you really want? They tend to have a struggle finding the words to even articulate what it
Yeah.
is they're looking for.
Yeah.
And so what is it you think people are genuinely looking for that they don't know that they're looking for? And how do you bring that out? How do you help someone relax to the degree that they're not identifying with what they don't want, but they're identifying with what they do want, or another way of saying it, who they want to be? Because I think that's at the crux of it. It's not so much, yes, there's goals and things that we want to materialize or manifest, but I think it's more of how people want to be, how they want to feel, the quality of their thoughts, the movement of their life around them. It's more about being than getting or manifesting
Right.
something on the outside. It's about the
Absolutely.
feelings on the inside.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's a big one because it has to do with worth. Mostly, and or a good mirror, because I think that we're all so uniquely different that for people who didn't have parents that could put up a good clear mirror, people tend to think that they are a reflection of whoever reflected to them. And I think most people want to be happy and at peace, right? May all beings be happy and may suffering be alleviated. I mean, there's the basics. But when people don't know what they want, I often ask the question, when you were a kid, and kids play the games and they're like, okay, I'll be Superwoman, and who are you going to be? And you'll be like, I'm going to be Xena. I'm going to be the warrior princess. And I'll extrapolate from who they would want to be. And if you couldn't fail, if you could make it up, right? Like if you could make up this character of who you would be in the world and you couldn't fail, like just play with imagination for me a minute. What would that look like? If they can do that, that's a really fun place to start. If they cannot even do that, then we extrapolate from what they don't want. We do extrapolate from what then. And my teacher, Evan Hodkins, with the School of Alchemy, taught me this. It's like you extrapolate from what you don't want to find out what you do want. And sometimes I find, and even with myself, right? I'm Shamama and I've got all this education and blah, blah, blah. Do you know what I want? I want to sit on this couch and watch those birds. And I want to play in the garden, and I want my grandchildren near me. I like cooking and plants and animals and making stuff. And that's all I want. But what I'm called to do, right, is something completely different.
Yeah.
But so it's really simple what people really want. When we crystallize down the essence, it's usually very simple. And from that essential place, if there's no shame in not having huge ambitions to be great, people can then actually build greatness, because it's like the nucleus of a cell is very tiny, right?
Mhm.
It's a very tiny thing, but without it, without that center, nothing grows. So it's like trying to help people to their true selves is really my mainstay, which is why the IFS work came in, because it's like there's so many different players in each individual, right?
Well, Kelly, I want to have another conversation with you and dive into IFS. We are right
Okay.
here at the end of the hour. And
Yes,
I have so enjoyed having this conversation with you. I feel like my heart's been filled up by your energy and
me
your beauty and
too.
your light. Thank you so
Me too,
much for being
Ali.
here.
It's a pleasure. Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here. And everybody, look for Ali Benjamin for the Enneagram and all her spiritual gifts, because she's the bomb.com.
Oh,
Thank
thank you,
you, Ali.
sweetie. Lots of love to you.
Thanks to
And thank you,
everyone who,
everyone.
yeah, thank you.
Thank you for being here, and I will see you next week. And thank you to New Thought Media Network, our production, and to the Satya Center, our sponsor. Peace and blessings. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Free my mind, open my heart with the whispers of truth. To live a conscious life, to live a conscious life on the growing edge.